It's our part 3 on malaria. Before beginning with this part, I would like to recall that in part 2 we tried to understand life cycle of malarial parasite, which is completed in two hosts, human host and mosquito host. In human host it is called as caesogony, and in mosquito host it is called as sporogony. In this part, I will continue discussion on remaining part of epidemiological determinants that includes host factors, environmental factors, and most important aspect, that is vectors of malaria. In host factors, we will cover age, sex, race, pregnancy, socio-economic development, housing and population mobility, occupation, different human habits, and immunity. Age, what you can see in this image, if you observe carefully, you can see people of all age group. So malaria is the disease which can occur in all age group people, and it can occur at any age. But in case of newborns, falciparum malaria is rare to occur. The reason is newborn babies, they contains fetal hemoglobin, and as long as fetal hemoglobin is present, it suppresses development of Plasmodium falciparum, and these newborns, they show resistance to falciparum malaria. So falciparum malaria is rare to occur in newborns. Gender, risk of exposure to malaria, it is more in males. You can see in this image, I tried to show males, whereas better clothing in females provides protection against malaria. What is role of racial factors in occurrence of malaria? Those persons with Duffy negative red blood cells, they show resistance to Vivax malaria. So Vivax malaria is rare to occur in Duffy negative persons, whereas those persons with sickle cell trait where abnormal hemoglobin is present, which is AS, whereas normal hemoglobin is AA. So persons with abnormal hemoglobin having sickle cell trait, they can develop falciparum malaria, but this malaria is very mild in persons with sickle cell trait. Pregnancy increases risk of malaria, and primigravida, they have higher risk of developing malaria. If malaria infection occurs during pregnancy, it may result in abortion, it may cause intrauterine death, or it may cause premature labor. Socio-economic development. Malaria commonly occurs in areas with low socio-economic development, whereas it is rarely seen in areas with better socio-economic development. Housing, it is most important factor related to epidemiology of malaria. Now, what is role of housing in occurrence of malaria? The house that you can see in this image, it is not properly ventilated. Even you can find dark areas. So natural light or artificial light, it is also not adequate. So all those houses with poor ventilation, with inadequate lighting, these places are ideal for resting of mosquito. So mosquito rest inside houses, and the people residing in such houses, they can acquire malaria due to mosquito bites which are resting in their houses. Population mobility or migration of people. This migration can be internal migration when it occurs within country, or it can be external migration when it occurs outside the country. So migration may occur due to various reasons. In country like India, different laborers, they migrate from one place to other place for work opportunities. At the same time, different tribes, they also migrate like nomadic tribes or wandering tribes. Now, if these people, they come from malaria endemic areas to those areas where malaria is controlled or malaria is eliminated. Now there is possibility that these people may carry malarial parasites and even drug resistant malarial parasites in their body and may introduce malaria into those areas where it is controlled or where it is eliminated. And in external migration, Europe is facing important problem of imported malaria, and this is related to tourism. Occupation. Malaria is closely related to agricultural practices. So, cases of malaria are mainly seen in rural population, and the disease malaria is predominantly rural disease. Human habits, like housing, different habits of people can also contribute to occurrence of malaria. One of the important habit that we can mainly find in rural Indians is outdoor sleeping. Outdoor sleeping, it increases man vector contact and possibility of occurrence of malaria increases. Indoor residual spraying is one of the important vector control measure where insecticide spraying is done inside houses, and majority of people they refuses for this indoor residual spraying, or sometimes after spraying they do replastering, so this spraying becomes ineffective. Majority of Indians they do not use mosquito net, so personal protection is not done. And few Indians like nomadism or nomadic tribes they keep on moving from one place to other place. So all these human habits can contribute to occurrence of malaria. Immunity. Immunity in infants. Maternal antibodies provides protection to infants. But how long these infants are protected against malaria, it depends on immune status of mother. Immunity after natural infection. Immunity can be acquired following natural infection, but this immunity is acquired only after repeated infections over several years. And immunity acquired is species specific, means the person suffering from particular type of malaria will become immune only to that type and not to other types of malarial parasites. Immunity in persons residing in endemic areas. So those people who are residing in endemic areas, they may show resistance to malaria or they are immune to malaria as long as they are residing in malaria endemic areas. Once such people leaves malaria endemic areas and goes to non-endemic areas, immunity gradually decreases. Another aspect is semi-immune persons and malaria. Those persons who are semi-immune to malaria, they may show asymptomatic parasitemia. So they may harbor parasites in their circulation and may not develop signs and symptoms of malaria. Environmental factors. In this we will see season, temperature, humidity, rainfall, altitude and man-made malaria. Season. Malaria is seasonal disease. If you can recall from introductory part where we said malaria is endemic in India and endemicity is unstable, means it shows seasonal fluctuation. So in India, maximum prevalence of malaria it is seen from July to November, and as you can see in this image, this time period coincides with some part of rainy season and some part of winter season. Temperature. Temperature, it affects development of malarial parasite inside the mosquito. That is, it will have impact on sporogony. So temperature range of 20 to 30 degrees Celsius is ideal for development of malarial parasite inside vector mosquito. But if this temperature falls below 16 degrees Celsius or if it is above 30 degrees Celsius, it will adversely affect development of malarial parasite in vector mosquito. So ideal temperature required for development is 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. Humidity, it affects lifespan of vector mosquito. In this image, you can see a scale of relative humidity. This scale ranges from 0 to 100% and the pointed figure is 60%. So, 60% relative humidity is essential for completion of normal lifespan of vector mosquito. And if relative humidity falls below this level, it may affect or it may reduce lifespan of vector mosquito. Rainfall. Rainfall can have different impacts on occurrence of malaria. Rainfall, it increases atmospheric humidity, and right now we said relative humidity of 60% is essential for survival of vector mosquito. At the same time, rainfall can favor breeding of mosquito. Following rainfall, water pools are created which are favorable for mosquito breeding. But if heavy rainfall occurs, so it may flush breeding places of mosquito. Altitude. Can you recall name of vector mosquito? Yes, you are right. For malaria, it is female Anopheles mosquito. Can this mosquito survive at higher altitude above 2000 or 2500 meters? No. This altitude is not favorable for the growth of Anopheles mosquito. So, malaria is not seen at higher altitude above 2500 meters. Man-made malaria. Man-made projects favors breeding of mosquitoes. So examples of such man-made projects includes different construction activities like construction of roads, construction of bridges or construction of dams, various garden pools, irrigation channels or fountains. These are the places where mosquito can breed and can spread malaria. So as this breeding occurs because of man-made projects, it is known as man-made malaria, and it is similar to that which we discussed in epidemiological types of malaria as malaria in project areas. Vector of malaria. There are about 45 species of Anopheles mosquito that we can found in India. Out of these, very few are effective vectors of malaria. It includes Anopheles culissifacis, Anopheles stephensi, Anopheles fluviatilis, Anopheles minimus, Anopheles maculatus, Anopheles philippinensis, and Anopheles sundicus. Two important species here you must know is Anopheles culissifacis, which is important vector in rural India, and Anopheles stephensi, which is important vector in urban India. Why it is important that we must have appropriate knowledge of Anopheles mosquito? Because till date there is no effective vaccine available for malaria. So malaria prevention is difficult. So what approach remains for malaria is to control malaria. And for controlling malaria, it is very important, or the most important practical approach is to control vector. So if we want to control this vector of malaria, we must have appropriate knowledge related with this vector. What things we are supposed to know about vector mosquito? It includes understanding density of vector, lifespan of vector, what different host these mosquitoes select for their blood meal, what are various resting habits of mosquito, what different breeding places are preferred by mosquito, what is their time of biting, what is meaning of vectorial capacity, and what are the insecticides to which these vector mosquitoes are showing resistance. What is your observation related to vector mosquito during rainy season? Have you observed population of mosquito increases during rainy season? So density is nothing but this number of mosquitoes which are present in our environment. Now Anopheles vector, when it can become effective vector. What is meaning of effective vector? Effective vector is that vector which can transmit malaria. So Anopheles mosquito can become effective vector only if it is present in adequate density. So this is known as critical density. Now what happens if this density decreases? That is, if number of vector mosquito decreases in our environment. So in this case, transmission of malaria in community won't occur. At the same time, if density of vector mosquito increases, it may result in occurrence of outbreak of malaria in that particular area. Now based on density, Anopheles fluviatilis is very effective vector. Why it is very effective vector? Because it can transmit malaria even if its density or its number is low in human habitations. At the same time, Anopheles culiciphasis, it requires high density for transmission and propagation of malaria. Lifespan of mosquito. After taking blood meal on infected person or person suffering from malaria, how long this Anopheles mosquito survives, it is key factor in transmission of malaria. So after taking blood meal on infected person, female Anopheles mosquito must survive for 10 to 12 days, because this is the period when mosquito will become infective and then only it can transmit malaria. Mosquitoes are divided into two species, anthrophilic species and zoophilic species. Anthrophilic species, the mosquitoes belonging to this species, they prefer human blood for their blood meal, whereas zoophilic species, they prefer animal blood for their blood meal. The vectors of malaria, that is Anopheles fluviatilis, Anopheles culiciphasis, are anthrophilic species. So they prefer human blood for their blood meal. Resting habits of mosquitoes. Endophiles are those mosquitoes which rests indoors, and this resting behavior is called as endophily, whereas exophiles are those mosquitoes which rests outdoors, and this resting behavior is known as exophily. So behavior is called as endophily and exophily, and mosquitoes we can call as endophiles and exophiles. So endo are those which will take rest inside houses, whereas exo are those mosquitoes which will take rest outside houses. Now let us try to understand what are various breeding places of mosquito. Anopheles stephensi, it can breed at various places like wells, fountains, overhead tanks, water distribution pipes, domestic water containers, etc. Anopheles fluviatilis, it prefers to breed in slow moving water, whereas Anopheles sundicus, it prefers to breed in brackish water. Brackish water is salty water. This is one of the interesting aspect related to Anopheles mosquito. What is biting time of Anopheles mosquito? Anopheles is nocturnal biter, so it prefers to bite between dusk and dawn. If you compare this with Aedes mosquito, Aedes is day biter. Vectorial capacity, it is combined effect of density of vector and susceptibility of vector to infection. Resistance of vectors to insecticides. It is important for us to know insecticide resistance of vector because understanding of this aspect helps us in selection of appropriate insecticides for control of the vector.